Hello, fellow armchair generals. Of course, this is Gamer1745, and I've already sort of been starting the stream and starting to rant, so I decided I was going to start making an episode here. And hello, people who make black ice. I think you're doing great. I really appreciate all your free work. You're not getting paid for this. I know this is a huge mega project and you can't get everything done right at the start. You're not a big company who's, you know, needing to launch everything completely successfully here. But the complaint of the moment, and there's a bunch of complaints going on right now, but, you know, the complaint of the moment is, well, okay, first complaint is, see, this is how it's sort of a tan color, we'll call this, and that means it's completed. And this is green, and it needs to be completed. If I come over here, green means it's completed, tan means it's uncompleted. Fucking get your colors straight. You know, and I really do appreciate you not updating and changing the standard version. And maybe this has already been updated in your, I know I'm not reading the chat. I'll get to the chat in a moment. In your, you know, rolling out testing versions. And I really do appreciate that I'm able to play a consistent version without having an update every other week. So maybe this has been changed. But please, right now, whatever project you're working on, everybody stop it and fix this color issue between national focuses and research or any other thing so that it is consistent. The consistent color for has been researched and or whatever, researched or completed or whatever you want to call it, and not completed. Please get that straight so I'm not confusing myself. I know I'm an old man. Sing, I was late too. And hello, Stuart. How you doing? Yes, we have people on both Twitch and YouTube, and I'm seeing all that chat. And I try also pay attention over on Rumble, and which we have some people watching now. 4 it says currently, and probably no one over on Kick. So okay. I was told, and I know you can change things. You don't have to do what the base game did. But I was told one of the big purposes for national focus, which I think you sort of use it for too, is a roadmap. So if players want to get to here, they know they need to go down this roadmap, as opposed to just being, well, I wanted to do this. I didn't realize I needed to, you know, years before do some particular decision or event to make it happen. Okay, that's fine. Not everyone knows history. Not everyone wants to find out after playing for 40 or 50 hours. Really, damn it, I got to start over again because I, you know, got to learn that I need to, you know, do something early on to get to something later. I get that. That's fine. The other, you know, with that roadmap of what to do, the other, you know, was, you know, to tell them the effects. So what is the effect of Hitler Youth Auxiliary Force? Oh, get you an event. Now, to the best of my knowledge at this point, there's no ability to know what this event is. Can't you put in the description an idea of increases manpower, or, you know, or 20% increase to manpower, or, you know, what, you know, some clue. I mean, I don't know. Does this affect national unity? Does this affect, because what is Hitler Youth Auxiliary Force? Now, I know of no term that is specifically that. It isn't like the National Socialist craft carts. You know, now there may be something that translates auxiliary in force into German, and in Hitlerjugend something in German that maybe I've heard before and know. Now I know they had flak helpers, in which Hitler Youth was helping with the flak cannons and passing ammunition and helping with that. And I know very late in the war that they started to train up the werewolves, which were setting up to be guerrilla Hitler Youth type forces, to resist occupation of German territories. So I have no idea what this is supposed to represent. Is this, the SA, particularly early on, but as the war's going on, is being drafted in the army or doing other things. I do believe the Hitler Youth was running around and doing the winter help funds, the winter hilfs, collecting money from people, going around with little cans and shaking them and getting people to put coins in it, that kind of thing. So I don't know what this is supposed to represent. And right now, the problem here is manpower. Now, the other thing, and again, guys, I love what you're doing here. I'm bitching and moaning. I'm sort of in a grumpy mood at the moment. I hope it's entertaining to those watching. And so, yes, this is criticisms of your work, but it's coming from a place of love. I'm loving what you're doing. Just got to solve some of these issues. Okay, and I'm on 2-year draft, and I'm already in 1941. Why am I on 2-year draft in 1941? Because I don't have a fucking enough political power. You go from however many there is sort of originally with national policies, so long since I played the base game, and you've created all these national policies, and they all seem to have similar amounts of political power needed to change things. Or I go over here, military mobilization, general mobilization. Okay, that seems like I'm more or less at the top of that. That's good. So, and then draft age. Well, 18 to 35, that seems okay. Get another 5%, but again, 75% political power. Is this really meant to hamstring me to keep me from doing things? I really don't think that I have been spending political power unwisely. Okay, this is the original Hitler Youth. See, here's that other Hitler Youth effect here. I'm noticing it here. And so this one, base political power gain, 3%, good. Base stability plus 3%. We have stability issues here. And daily fascism support. Okay, but see, I don't know if the next Hitler Youth thing is just going to increase that, or another effect. Maybe it removes this effect and does another effect on top of it. That's just this, but on steroids a little bit more. Or is it going to give me, because one of the people in chat believes that the thing is going to give me greater recruitable population. And okay, the Volksdeutsch here, we've already have. And the other thing here is foreign recruitment, 2%. Subject manpower requirements. Okay, foreign recruitment encouraged. Okay, but again, I don't have the political power to do this. You've got to, whether like I did say, I have not been able to hold my parade in Paris. Now, this is command power here. At least one unit in Paris. Oh, well, maybe I don't have that in there. But I look at this, and yes, I'll get some political power out of it. But still, it should jump me up in stability and much more. So, okay, let me find a military unit somewhere around here, and we'll eventually hold a parade. I guess we'll hold a parade. Okay, that's probably enough bitching for the moment. Black Ice dev team. I do hope you watch at least the beginning of this. This frustration does come from love. So and I know you could, because I've made my mods to pass. So I'm not saying I'm better than you, by God no. What I'm saying is I know where you're coming from, and that you're doing what you can when you can. When people have time or interest in a particular topic, subject, you get people to do what you can, and I get it. But something like the colors for research, or something like the other thing is, I know I said I was getting down. These take way too many days, and you've added so many wonderful ones. This isn't a complaint, but I don't think I've done anything radically wrong in my decision picking. But there are a lot of ones that happened along with what I think more or less my decision picking is. I think the Nibelungen tank factory's already happened by now, and I'm just doing this now, and I just did that before. That these things should have happened earlier. So reduce the number of days, because this is a days issue. Just maybe start out by cutting all these in half. Now, I haven't looked at the other national focus trees, whether they've also, I'm sure some of them have expanded like this, and if they've expanded greatly, cut the number of days in half. Now, if you're worried that people are just going to race through your national focus tree, do things that are meant, to be done in 1944, doing them in 1940, we'll just put, after such and such date, or after owning Moscow for a while, whatever the hell it is. So, okay, yeah, we'll get off the main rant here. Yes, I do want to. I'm going to now read the chat that I've been sort of ignoring here, and I don't ever mean to ignore you completely, guys. Just I sometimes get focused on some things. So yes, let me scroll back up here. Okay. Wow, there's been a lot of chat going on. Hitler is a political manpower focus. Thanks, Kronos. I do believe you. I'm just saying I wish I could see it. Yes, Gamer Rise of the Giants. Yeah, it wasn't so much this morning. Okay. Also, in industry research below civil workshops, one gives tech recruitable population. You could research medicine. Yeah, exactly. That's another thing that again, it's another sort of complaint, is that they have added a lot of really cool okay, that's wound division recovery rate. That does help, but 41 here, antibiotics. Okay, monthly population plus 5%. That's absolutely good. That they've increased so much of these things that, and I have done sort of minimum here. I done a decent amount here, but I've done basically or nearly. I know there is one like exclusive naval thing, but I've not done much naval. So, and there's weapons. So I don't think it just seems that this is blossoming without corresponding, and Germany was doing a lot. So we'll catch up on that. So, okay, catching up, yes. So we could do some, and there is some civil workshops there as well. You can always do a parade in Berlin for more political power. Thanks, Frog Eyes. Yes, we're getting there. Ukraine is trying to call Wagner Group to fight versus Russia, killing those bad. Yes, the will. Yeah. Oh man. I believe Prigozhin and the lieutenant and one of the other guys were on the airplane, but again, I don't know if we have that properly confirmed. I did report that it's reported that happened, but I'm not absolutely sure. Okay, got to be honest, this game looks great sometimes. Yes, this game, I mean, they're really the Black Ice team particular, not so much the dev team, is really trying to make a historical, the Paradox dev team, historical game, and they finally did these railroads, which really make a difference. They finally have supply centers. Now, still don't have supplies as a thing that is produced in factories and moved to the front. I know it's sort of nebulous because it's a combination mix of food, which really isn't modeled in the game other than, and has never really been modeled in the game other than being cut off from it. But ammunition was modeled in the previous version of the game, which was used, just producing quote unquote supply. But in many ways, not in all ways, but in many ways, it is much better than Hearts of Iron 3. In other ways, it's not nearly as good. So, calling up older reservists is the cheapest option for manpower. Yes, folk, we'll get there in just a moment. Brackets give you manpower too. Okay. It looks so deep in all the portraits, mostly accurate. Must make you favorite general, and it looks very immersive. Yes, the one thing that they went from wanting to have just this, the sort of field marshal generals, to now allowing sub generals, and now on a division you now have this guy. This is random set of names with a generic focus. Now you can if you get enough political or command power, but that's another issue, promote this guy up, and he can earn traits by fighting in various trains and conditions, is what my understanding. And this is sort of kind of meant to I don't know if I'm trying to see if that will give me anything more. My understanding is, I guess I should say, is this is sort of kind of meant to get sort of traits that you earn from fighting. So I wish you could come in here and click on it and personalize the name, and I wish you could come in here and pick an image so that it is not. I want to click on another one of these here. And yeah, you can see a different image here. So you can see the two images. So that if somebody wanted to add a bunch of images, I don't know why you couldn't, and I don't know why you couldn't tie the name to the image, just like in the old Hearts of Iron 3 setup. So, and it could just be randomly picked. And yes, I can come up with a flow chart that I'm sure that some of the talented programmers could program in that would have a comparison to having some of the old traits. Oh, hey, he's a tank officer. Oh, is this a tank division? Well, yes, then match them up. No, then don't. Simple little flow chart kind of programming that could be done to solve it, so that 90% of the time for us, detailed players, we don't need to change this unless we're that's why I say 90%. That's where the 10% who wants to have the 250th Infantry Division commanded by the historical guy at the historical date. If you're and yes, I'm going to say freak, because that's very few people would want to do that. Cool if that's your jam. Now, some sort of famous divisions, Rommel and the 7th Panzer Division early on, yeah, okay, I sort of, especially with Hearts of Iron 3, did things like that because those are in my mind, and I just know them, and so in some of the famous few SS divisions and whatnot. So a few places I would have the historical least person there for a little while, but mostly it could just be various random things. And so you don't have to have the complaint of, I don't want to futz around with each division general, I just want to play more casually. Well, fine, and that's actually, I sort of a detail that I don't want to put in a check every single infantry division general to make sure he's right. I just want to, pick out, a generic German infantry division guy and have it randomly do it there. And if I want to, I can, play around with it, but have it, or a random Panzer general or whatever, get stuck in there, mountain general or whatever. So that's something I wish would be nice to go back and do again. Also, please open a window in Twitch. Okay, yes, thanks, Arno. If you are on YouTube, it would be great if you hit the thumbs up. You can watch me on anywhere. The one I am trying to, Balder von Strichen, okay, Plastic Gangster. So, that I normally, the one thing I do want to see more viewers on Twitch is for with War Thunder, but Hearts of Iron, wherever you want to be. It says, well, over on Rumble, it says there's 5 watching now. Hello, guys on Rumble. Yes, Trump is great. Biden sucks. I know there's a lot of political people over on Rumble. I mean, you don't have to agree with my politics. It's just, you know, to be a welcome person here watching. But just saying hi to the political people. And 16 combo, it says, between Twitch and YouTube. I don't know how many that's double watches like Arno. So yeah, so you can watch it wherever. Historically, Hitler Youth was manpower. Well, yeah, and historically, you also have women coming into the armed forces, not just the workforce. And this is, again, I had to correct. I don't know that Admiral Teague will ever watch this, but thank you for inviting me. We had a watch party. Currently, the way he sort of did it was currently the movie Patton is free on YouTube right now. If you want to go watch it after the stream, go ahead, watch it. It's a great movie. But we did a watch party, and some people were watching it sort of on their own, and others, he sort of had a feed of it up that you could watch it. And so we had it there, and we were 3 of us were sort of analyzing the movie as it was going along and talking about the history, and I contributed heavily to it, and thank you for inviting me on it. So there is that. If anybody's interested, it's still up over on his channel. But, you know, I had to correct because he was under the impression that Germans kept the women out of the workforce. No, they were women, young women in National Socialist Germany were basically drafted. Unless you had kids, and that's probably almost need to be plural. Now, they were also drafting women in Britain during the war too, basically. And by drafting, I don't mean putting them into the army. And this is sort of the graphics here that they're being used here. That looks like the Women's Land Army in Britain. Sort of there was an official uniform, but a lot of them, because they're out being farm girls, you know, wearing whatever sort of, you know, functional clothing too. So some of it, and this, you know, there's there's the BDM, which is the female version of the Hitler Youth. I mean, they're part of the Hitler Youth, but for girls. That was doing the thing. But then there was also the Women's RAD, you know, Reich Arbeitsdienst, or the labor service. A lot of them were basically required to go into that eventually. Now, or do various war work, which, you know, work in a factory. Women were mostly required to do something. You know, if they got a job in a military factory, well, great. If they got a job, or if they were working with the Women's RAD, going sort of, you know, out doing farm work and doing other sorts of things, great. If they were joining the what was it? Well, the women's helpers, my German's failing me right now, but you know, women's, you know, helpers. So they would help with the, you know, dealing again with the flak guns, or running, because telephone services were manual back then, meaning somebody has to unplug and plug in connections when you make phone calls. So basically every time you're making a phone call somewhere in Germany, you're having at least one person momentarily, and then when that phone call ends, the lights go on and come off or whatever. You're tying up a human person. Now the human person may be dealing with multiple phone calls kind of thing at once, but there is somebody having to deal with your phone call, and so you need all kinds of telecommunications going on, not just for the war, but hey, a factory ordering some parts from the factory down the block. It's that. So there's a lot of paperwork being done. For Germans love to have lots and lots of paperwork covering lots and lots of everything they're doing. So they need all these people. So women were forced to do lots of jobs that they had to do. So it's not just allowed. Now allowed would, and I don't know if I moved it here, if this is what it started as. I started as that, but allowed would be peacetime Germany. Encouraged would be early 1940, 1941. By 1943, it's sort of would be something comparable to this labor home front. So it changes over time for women, and yes, that would be something that would help here. Okay. Yes, I'm doing very fine, just grumpy sleep situations. Sing. Okay. Stuart. Okay, Stuart. You probably know who you... Oh, Plastic Gangster Stuart. Okay, that's good. Good to know, Plastic Gangster. Hard to keep track. The reserve is one of the manpower auxiliaries used for a bonus, yes. They were also helping a lot with stuff, patrolling, looking for down. Oh, yes. Yes, the Hitler Youth. Yeah, and the SA were doing that, and the Reich Arbeitsdienst would do that. All that kind of stuff is being called out. Also, post-bomb, going and looking for survivors, clearing out dead bodies, clearing roads, not so much repairing a lot of buildings, but just getting the rubble and getting what's still functioning as, bombing is happening. Oh yeah, there's lots of, whether it's Hitler Youth or whether it's the women's organizations, all of that stuff is all being used. So yes, in the general sense, in the war effort, absolutely Hitler Youth, and not so much the really young boys. And there's sort of another, I'm blanking on it, another sort of symbol for the really young Hitler Youth, but the sort of middle of the Hitler Youth, the sort of the middle age and the older boys, definitely were doing a lot of auxiliary war help. But for the Hitler Youth, as far as I can tell, again, and I've looked at it, but I don't know, like I like to say now, is I know a shit ton about World War II, but I know that there's so much more out there that I don't know than I do. So trust me, and I know some of you guys, whether it's a particular area or just some other stuff, stuff I don't know. So I'm, again, so I know I'm wrong on things too. But again, so far as I know, there is no sending Hitler Youth outside of Germany or outside of their sort of local area or region. You're meaning they're not like getting at least as a general situation, they're not getting a lot of Hitler Youth and sending them from Stuttgart to Munich or something like that. And they're definitely not sending them out to do help work or something in occupied France. Not on the Hitler Youth front, but on the SA front, which is something of a similar situation to a degree. They weren't, there are a few exceptions that I know of, but generally speaking, they weren't sending SA units to occupation duties in foreign territories, generally speaking. Now, they did create, and I do know that they created an SA Abteilung for Warsaw. But, and the reason I know this is because somebody was selling documents from somebody who did that, who was a member of that. And they, in the details about it, and I saved this stuff, whether I ever want to make an event, it was from a young man who was definitely of military age, and from the photo, and he was in the SA, he looked fit for military use. But he and he was originally a member of an SA unit somewhere, I think in Western Germany, and he was sent out to Warsaw to help oversee or be one of the manager staff, or however you want to say it, of one of the armaments factories that was going to continue to being operated. So he had a, he was much more valuable as a manager of making armaments than he was going to be a guy carrying a rifle at the front. So, and he was, youngish man. I would, late 20s, early 30s or something. I don't know, but probably more the 20s, I think. He probably had his age on the stuff. And I have that saved somewhere. But he was assigned to an SA unit that was formed here in Warsaw of people like him. So that, of people who had a day job, Germans, who, were Nazi party members and wanting to be members of the SA. So that, in the SA, they're, as a percentage of, especially by the late 1930s, because early on they do have a lot of sort of full-time SA people. As a percentage of the members of the SA, it is a very small percentage that it's like their full-time paid gig. And they're definitely administrators and other people. Most of the SA members aren't necessarily, there were reserve, they called them that type term, SA units. But most of the SA duties are part-time type duties that flare up, need to be done, whether it's a big party rally or party whatever, but they have day jobs. They work in a factory, they work on a farm, they work in a shop. Most of that, because later on, as the Nazis are in control, the economy's doing good enough that all these men are employed. And so they get an employee so the party doesn't have to give them a full-time extra job. Now, some of them, even as a part-time situation, do get a few extra Reichsmarks from working in the SA as a part-time gig. So without necessarily even attaching the term reserve, most of these guys aren't like sitting around all day in their SA uniforms waiting for something to do, or standing around guarding a factory in an SA uniform, that kind of thing. So there were a few SA units that were distinctly outside of official Germany, but these were done in a similar sort of creation fashion of youthful people being sent out there. Okay, let's continue to get through the chat. Here, look at the right policy in the draft. Okay, you can always, we're going to the military parade here. No plain world, nothing, which really, okay. Okay, it stacks, yes. Thanks. Airplane, okay. Hold the parade, and upgrade the brackets should solve it for the moment. Hitler Youth, yeah, congrats. What did Sing fit into the club here? I'm missing something. Just celebrating after. Oh, yes, the moon. Yes, India made it to the southern pole of the moon. That is cool. That is cool. I have a plan to. Okay, let's get. Hear that Trump is standing for 2020. Is that true? Yes. Trump will become the Republican nominee for president. I am absolutely sure of it. Unless, there's a plane crash or some other sort of, Hillary Clinton type situation there. Or Putin or whoever. Will become the Republican primary, and I would say is most likely the next elected president of the United States. Trump is likely. Whether you want that to happen or not, that's a different question, but those are my assessments of the likely things to happen. You can always build recruitment centers for manpower. Yes, that is another thing, but now that I have, and I'm still trying to build up, maybe unnecessarily, but I'm still trying to build up some of my trains to some of the original sort of centers here in the east to get supplies flowing to some degree. And so I have not in quite a while been building anything but train factories and getting these things done. Now we're getting mostly to the end of that. I don't know why there's 2 in Lublin, but we'll see. Maybe that was needed to get up there. So to continue to supply situations, and of course we're moving deeper and deeper in. They're dealing with that, getting the everything. So yeah, recruitment centers are just another, and I guess my point with the recruitment centers is why are they in the game? What function historically that, I mean, obviously they had historic recruitment centers, but I know whether it's in Nazi Germany or in the United States, to the best of my knowledge, again, to the best of my knowledge, and I'm thinking of those two things, and I know photographs of recruitment centers, they were taking over pre-existing buildings, either in part or full. I mean, they might just be like a storefront in, you know, in a big, you know, office tower building or whatever, and just one of the bottom ground floor storefronts, or taking over a movie theater or something like that to process in and recruit people. So I don't know what, quite honestly, because obviously this is meant to take away construction from something else. And again, this is sort of mixing my knowledge from the US, a little bit from Britain, some from Germany, and mixing it my knowledge from World War I through World War II. That they're, yeah, you know, if you're talking training centers, which are different than recruiting centers, but could sort of kind of be lumped into processing centers. In some cases, those were literally fields, and they were, you know, everything being done under canvas, both in World War I and World War II in the United States, though as quickly as possible, and the U.S. has a lot of construction assets. They were building cheap-ass buildings that were meant to stand for just a few years before, you know, going, you know, falling apart on them, because they're just slapdash and quick. So I don't see why that shouldn't be just covered with national policies or with national spirits. And if somebody wants to, in chat or later on or whatever, I don't know, I'll read the chat now, but what construction type things that this should be, you know, because again, taking away from railroad construction, why construction time for this should be a thing. Now, if you wanted to make something like this that would either be, again, you know, drop down, you know, placed on the map by an event or a decision, whatever you want to call it, like that, or when you get a national spirit or something, you know, have something that fires, that drops a bunch of those things down, and maybe make it so that if you really want to do more, you could pay for it. But I don't know that it should be something that is even buildable, you know, meaning it only happens by event, decision, or, you know, national focus or something. You know, to do that. So I don't know, but yes, that is a way to deal with this and would be useful, I am sure, and good for people to know. Thanks, Frog Guys. Yes, okay. Prigozhin is actually reported dead a few years ago in a downplane in Africa. He wasn't dead, though. Yes. Yeah, I get that. So yeah, you know, if I was a Prigozhin, a Contadori, a commander of mercenary forces, and as moderately successful, I mean, he was at least greatly successful at that kind of job. Often men go, because I've known Well, I've met, maybe I should say, known might be over stated, but I've known people that did that type of work. Not just was a mercenary, but sort of commanded and organized. I've met a few of them, read some of their books, but I have met a few of them and had a little chat in a bar or something a couple of times with a few people when I was younger that did that in places like Africa and other parts of the world. On the other side, you know, on the other side in the Cold War. A lot of them, they didn't make a lot of money doing it. They may have had a lot of money go through their hands, because of the expense of running the operation. So they might got paid a lot of money at one point or another, but trying to keep the operation running and spending it out. But Prigozhin, and from the, I have some photos that they published of going through his very nice house and whatnot. If I was somebody like him, I would have either created another identity, you know, wear a wig, take some photos, get a passport and some other non-Russian, you know, could be like South Africa or something, you know, something that's sort of believable. You know, I don't know how much English he knows, but something that's sort of kind of believable to have a passport in, and you know, a real passport, not just a fake one, but get one set up, and under that identity buy you know, a house, not a big lavish thing, but some place in the Caribbean, or some place out in Mauritius, or, you know, the Comoros Islands, or somewhere, you know, somewhere to disappear to. And whether it's after a plane falling out of the sky, you know, like here's this box, fly it to my good friend, you know, Putin, and hand it over to him. And halfway through the flight, the box blows up on his private airplane or something, and, you know, to disappear with, and he's already, you know, disappearing down the rabbit hole. I would, just because of vengeful governments, vengeful whatever, I would have an escape plan. Whether I was smart enough to realize it's time to escape, or, nah, I'm good, I'm going to keep running my mercenary operations, they can't touch me, you know, whatever, you know, I'm not saying I'd be smart enough to peace out at the right moment, but I would have at least tried to set up that plan if I was doing his type of work. Okay. Fire traits dependent on actual battlefield results, like RNG allows to hold units much longer. Yeah, there are traits on the battlefield. BRICS is adding new member countries. Well, BRICS is a fictitious thing, Sing. You might not understand that, but it, India and China in the same, BRICS isn't a military alliance, and India is very, very prominent in saying that they're not joining a military alliance. So BRICS ain't a military alliance, and BRICS ain't an economic alliance either, no matter what they want to say, because India and China are not going to be in the same goddamn alliance. They are not going to, they're not going to coordinate their economic policies together. They are rivals, they are competitors. No, BRICS is a fictition, and it is being promoted up by, whether by Russia or China and some of these other nations like India. And I think India is just like, yeah, we'll do it too. Whatever, just to sort of kind of honestly join some organizations. And, oh yeah, South Africa is a member of BRICS, as the locals are, you know, oh, we're talking on the cell phone, or we're talking, oh, damn, the power just went out. Why did the power? Oh, the locals are taking the power lines down home to turn the copper wire into something. As the South African natives are tearing apart South Africa, you think South Africa is joining a BRICS organization. They, you know, give it another 10 years, they'll be, well, I was going to say the Stone Age, they'll be in the Iron Age. Okay, yeah. I'm sorry, BRICS is a fictition. It's something that politicians want to pat themselves on the back and saying, we're part of this organization to do all this thing that isn't U.S. or whatever center, because the U.S. is the dominant power. Again, you don't have to like what the U.S. does. I'm not saying that, and we're not always right. I'm not saying we are, but BRICS is BS. Okay, yes. All right, let's get, thank you, Arno, for all that. So thank you, Singh. And I do like India. I'm just saying it's just, just that. BRICS is nothing. Get political power, manpower, policy upgrade. You could take the going for it, which gives you 75. Yeah, folk, it does. Okay, and oh, hey, Ari, guess you're back from Missouri. Guess I don't know why you went, but cool. Was it what's the sort of entertainment town? I don't know. Just going through this is okay. Thanks, Arno, doing your job. Great. Hello. Add that. Is it? I'm probably butchering it. Don't mean to. Hey, Raga. I'm just ranting and getting through the chat. Recruitment centers are better for minor powers than major powers, and likely have a way to extend their manpower, seeing how little they have. Probably very true, Ari, and maybe more setup for that. And hello, Sir Toyjet. Hello, Beam Slam. Prigozhin and Wagner both exploded. That's totally horrible. Yeah. Building them at the start, greater chance to boost minor nations. Yeah, that would very likely be true. A function with them would happen. Well, in ever leadership, PMC. Yeah. People did something like another PMC plane having landed in Moscow. Yeah, I'm not saying I believe he's dead. I believe Prigozhin's dead. But belief, and again, I'm not trying to like spread conspiracy theories or whatnot, but it's just murky enough that, how many times did we hear, Osama bin Laden has been killed? No. He's been killed? No. And then finally he was, and we had complete evidence of that, so I think Prigozhin is dead. I just not going to be 100% sure until I don't know if ever, because I don't know if we'll ever really see a body. That plane burnt pretty bad. And hello, is it Johid? I don't know, or is it Yohid? 1022. I guess we can just call you 1022. Like the rifle. Okay, I mean the Soviets, America still did some trade deals. Yeah, they did. Went to Springfield to visit the Bass Pro Shop. I've been to the one in Vegas, but that is it. And Kronos were kept up to last. It's also military. You get 3 years. Okay, so, well, now, Kronos and others, you're absolutely right about this. Now, I'm down to 12,000 manpower, free manpower, 12,000. Now, again, I may be, I agree. I think he's probably dead. Just saying that. Yeah, we want to wait and see if he pops up. And if he's functionally dead, meaning he's alive, but like living in a small beach house in some island somewhere off in the world, and he's retired, well then fine. I mean, I know a lot of people, and especially one of my Ukrainian friends post a sort of a happy dance meme when he heard in the Discord, when he heard that Prigozhin was shot down. So I know a lot of people are happy that he's gone or would like him to be dead, but as a just sort of a practical matter, well, just him disappearing is functionally good enough. Okay, the problem I have with right now, garrison most likely reason for your lack of manpower. Absolutely, that is, and I did think of that, though I hadn't said it really yet. Here that we are, you know, Belgium 12,000. Well, okay, 88,000. 88,000. It's not unreasonable for the French Republic, I guess. Yeah, 8 divisions or so, roughly. Yeah, and plus the divisions that we do have holding the port. So, yeah, okay. 8,000 in the Netherlands, yeah. 40,000 in Poland, and I don't know exactly how they're drawing that border, whether this is now in, I think this is now in Germany, so it's just down here. 20,000, so 2 divisions worth in the Soviet Union so far, though of course there are also dealing with the, you know, these smaller republic or you know, USSRs like Lithuania with 7,000 and Latvia with 1,000. So 20,000. United Kingdom 66, and what they're talking about is this little islands out here. Oh, no, just this Totenkopf standard. Yeah. Luxembourg, Grand Duchy of Luxembourg. Oh, this is recruitable population down here. This down here is recruitable population. Okay, but up here is that, yeah, this is the manpower that we're. Oh, no, this is manpower. Okay, no, this is manpower. Where is showing my, how much? That's manpower. Oh, it's here, but it's these divisions of 8 divisions. Okay, it's here. I was misreading here versus here. No, this is, yeah, okay, so this is, because we're using, it's this as, you know, this little garrison thing as a division, so it's 24, Yugoslavia is 24 for secret police of these little brigades, okay. 125 of these equivalent in Poland, oh God. 30 of these in the Soviet Union. 125. Now, I know these are, you know, these are just to give everyone watching template here. I mean, these are just these, so 125 of these, and 1,000 manpower. So 125,000 men, 125,000 men are hanging out maybe in here, or I don't know if now this would be considered the Soviet Union. 125,000 men are hanging out and around here. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's how that is. And so 30,000 there. So 1,000, add 1,000 to all these numbers here. Sorry, I got that wrong. So 8,000, 5,000, 80,000, 24,000, 11,000, 11,000, 24,000, 125,000, 30,000. In the Channel Islands, 1,300 approximately. Okay. So that is my manpower needs there. Yeah, so well, and we get 14,000 it said there of foreign support for occupation duties, and we are occupying down here. I think we are. No, maybe not. I don't know. Okay. Like I say, I may have made not the best choices of spending political power early on. Like I say, this earlier when we're, you know, at peace in 1938, I think is a decent, you know, situation. We should have jumped to this at the start of the war. I mean, just from like a 2-year draft to expanded draft at the start of the war. But I did not have 300 political power free, and you could go back and look at it. But I think that would be, I think going from, going to 18 to 35 service ages, that's with that, and so that we can go without any degrading of, which we are having stability issues, as those who've been watching know. And I don't disagree with pushing, getting too many people that may be affecting stability. I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying without that. So that's where we should be, and that's 75. And yeah, we're going to hold a, and I don't see why I don't have done everything I'm supposed to, basic fundamental everything. Because again, and when you're talking a game like this, and you have all these things up here, they're part of a design philosophy that is designed to, in a way, mirror or model, maybe I should say, reality. And part of it was, and I don't have anybody here, but because he left, and I think I should have a Martin Bormann replacement. But whether I want to add in him here, which more consumer goods factories, or Ministry of Education, Bernard Rust, which was really the Ministry of Education. See, I don't know why. Bernard Rust was Minister of Education, yes. But, and they, not really innovation, but he was a lunatic and was not good, not effective. He was a lunatic. Really was messing shit up. Walter Darrier, yeah, max factories in a state down 10%. Now that would get monthly recruitable population up 10%. That would monthly, monthly population growth, recruitable population factor 5%, daily fascism report. But again, that's 150 that I don't have, and have made all of the things. So, I don't want to do a habit of that, what I'm going to do here. I'm just going to, war economy is taking me forever to get there. Oh, and women encouraged. Well, let's try on. Okay, we're going to do foreign recruitment encouraged. Well, this is okay. Maybe, well, because I'm looking here. Consumer good factories. Well, civilian factory use 100%. Yeah. Non-core manpower. Subject manpower. Okay, so I'm gonna say, because most of it was in the Waffen SS, the foreign recruitment, but especially on the Eastern Front, there was others. I'm trying to play historical. Okay, I think we're going to stick with foreign volunteers here, which will get us subject manpower requirements plus 2%, master impact plus. So I don't know how much that's going to do. Foreign recruitment is totally useless. Yeah. But I want it historical. So 150, 75, 300. So see, I just, okay, well, $550, I think. So let's do Yes, I just cheated because I really believe this mod needs to have things to be reasonably historical. And I agree that this may not really be that useful, but let's just do this. So okay, we're gonna do this sort of as a one-time. I mean, may need to cheat again. I know we ended up slightly more, but we are moving these guys to have a parade in Paris. I don't like having to do that, but I think that will help us get to, and yes, and I do thank Kronos, Frog Eyes, folk for giving me really good policies. Okay, foreign volunteers is also used as subjects have puny manpower. Yeah, well, I understand it may be better, but I'm looking at various Waffen SS type stuff. The idea that how they help. The only way to be worth something is to have subjects to annex them by down. But okay, well, whatever. So with giving me how to do it in the game, but I think we are in a situation that it should not be here yet. So, okay, so total garrisons, 400,000. Now that's with a 2 million man army. So that's, 25% of the army budget. Now there's only 50,000 air and 25,000 navy, but yeah, okay. So, well, I think we're going to end this episode, not the live stream, people, just the episode here. And next episode, we will have action at the front, not just figuring out what the hell I'm doing wrong. So thank you all very much. See you next time for more, yes, more